Hey, yo, what it do? Welcome back to another episode of Elevation Talks, man. Listen, we got some good stuff to talk about today, man. I want to talk about something that's really been just on my heart, man. And I feel like, as more and more people are really starting to like walk in purpose and do the things that they've been called to do and, just grow. I feel like more and more people are experiencing the isolation part of the process that nobody prepares you for.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, hit the ground and it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year.
Yo, when I tell y'all, I feel like, have y'all ever had the experience of you could be around a lot of people, but don't nobody understand you? Don't nobody understand what you're going through? Can't nobody relate to what you're saying or what you're talking about because they aren't there, And it's no shade or disrespect to anybody, but it's like when you are on a different path of life, it's just certain conversations you can't have with everybody, and that's all of us. There are certain things that we, experience as individuals that we can't go to everybody about because everybody don't understand, and so I don't know. It's like, I was watching this TikTok the other day and I felt like the lady said it best. Like, she hit it right on the nose. And she said, nobody talks about how, when you become a millionaire, how lonely it becomes because let's say you want to do stuff with your family. You got to pay for everything. Let's say you want to do stuff with your friends. You got to pay for everything. And I was just like, bruh, not just from a financial aspect, right? But think about it even from the standpoint of dream chasing. When you are chasing your dreams, and I've been a dream chaser my whole life. And so there has been a lot of times where my hunger is different from most people. And that's because I've always had vision. I've always had this vision of the life that I wanted to live and the different things that I wanted to do and achieve and all of these other things. And so even when life starts to life, right? Because life is always going to be lifing. I still stayed the course no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And I never allowed the ebbs and flows of life to break me down to the point where I'm just giving up on life, and it's been complicated to be in conversations and in relationship, right? Because that's the thing about relationships and friendships. When you are going on a different path of life, you're experiencing a different walk of life. Everybody is not assigned to go with you to the expansion phase of that process. And I know for a long time, this plagued me because I wanted to take not necessarily everybody, because I know everybody can't go, but there was people that I wanted to take with me who I thought was always going to be a part of the journey. You know what I'm saying? And literally, I thought I was always going to be a part of their journey. I thought they was always going to be a part of mine. And over time, it becomes a tug of war because you can feel and you can sense that these people don't necessarily fit in your orbit anymore, or you don't fit in their orbit anymore. But because they are familiar, because you grew up with them, or, just whatever the relationship is, you try to stay connected to them no matter how much it is starting to deteriorate you in the process, and I experienced that for a long time, which is how I ended up having a lot of unbalanced friendships and relationships, because I found myself constantly trying to push people and help propel people so that they can move to their next level so that they can be on the journey with me. Cause I never wanted to be alone. You know, I'm gonna actually tell y'all something. I remember a few years ago, I can't believe I'm telling y'all this. I remember a few years ago, I had this dream, and I was inside of this big house, and I knew it was my house. And there was this big party going on. And I was just like floating through the house, just seeing all of these different people. And these different people was like smiling at me and like waving at me as I was walking by. But I saw myself, it was like in third person. And so I saw myself just looking at these people, just like, hey, how you doing? You know, no real connection with anybody, right? And when the party was done, everybody left and went home. And I was still in this big space by myself. And I remember like, you know, sitting with that dream over time, just thinking about, dang, I don't want to be lonely. You know, I don't want to achieve all of this success and, you know, have this mansion and have all of these things. And I don't have anybody to like share it with or experience life with, you know? And so, you know, in order to make sure that that didn't happen, I found myself pushing people as hard as I can to make sure that they grow and elevate. So, you know, we can stay in each other's corners, you know? And so that burnt me out very quickly. I had to really stop doing that, because what would end up happening is people would begin to like do stuff. And it's like, yes, I want to see you win. I want to see you grow. But then for them, they start feeling like they're performing. Versus this is my nature. Like I'm an executor. Like I'm an execution strategist at heart. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Like when you see me get up every single day and put on clothes and have my meetings and, you know, just do all the things that fulfills me and makes me who I am. It's not me performing. Even when I set out a goal where it's like, yo, for example, I just recently finished my audio books for my books. Like I turned my books into audio books. And so I was like, all right, since I got the time and I got the resources, I'm going to knock this out in about a week. And so I did that. Versus some people might drag their feet. They might take about 3 months. And I'm not saying you should rush the process. I didn't rush my process, even though I said I got done within a week's time. It's just my execution skills are different from a lot of people because execution is what I do. You know what I'm saying? But oftentimes when I'm working with people or, you know, when I'm just like having life experiences, I start recognizing that a lot of people are just talking about doing stuff. And that's the difference between me, where it's like, I'm an action person. I don't like to just talk about doing stuff. I like to actually, we spoke about it and this feels aligned. Man, I go to God about it. Boom, let's run it up. Like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? I always tell my friends, I was like, man, don't ever tell me you want to do something, because I am going to be the person that's going to push you. I am going to be the person that's going to be like, yo, I'm your accountability partner. I'm going to help you run it up. Like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? And everybody don't want that from you. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want somebody, even though everybody might say, or some people might say they want an accountability partner. You have to be prepared for that kind of stuff. And so, you know, I started realizing, especially like even at a younger age, that I'm not just, this ain't a hobby for me. You know what I'm saying? Like dream chasing turned into purpose chasing, you know? And so it's like, yeah, man, over the years, I have just like found myself not being invited to a lot of different spaces anymore. The conversations are different. I mean, the jokes don't even land the same no more. You know what I'm saying? Because it's certain stuff now that you can't even joke about, because for real, some people still experiencing that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just, I really think that you don't really think about when you're praying, for the life that you want, and you praying to become this person, right? You're praying to become. You not really taking into consideration what it's going to cost you. Because that's the thing about the whole process. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your whole life. It's going to cost you access. And it's also going to cost you the old version of yourself. And it's like, when you begin to really walk that path, I'm not going to say that you don't have a choice, because you do have a choice, right? But the thing about the choice is, when it's in you, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it's in you, you're not going to be able to deviate from that plan no matter how much you want to, when it's really in you. You know what I'm saying? And I say that because even when you feel yourself like, oh, I'm about to go another route, you still feel that tug, whether you be honest about it or not. You still feel that tug. You still feel that energy. You still get that sense of, yo, I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be doing that. And so, yeah, like, I never thought about what life would actually be when I keep reaching different levels of life, and that's actually one of the things that I always tell my brother and sister this. I used to get so like, not jealous, but I would just take notice. I really love the fact that they still have relationships with people that they grew up with, even when they was in elementary school. And for me, I don't keep in contact with anybody, like elementary, middle, high school, college. Like, literally, I do not talk to anybody from my past life. And it's not because, oh, I feel like I've reached this level of success where I can't talk to these people. The connections just faded away. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hungrier I got when it came to my dreams and my purpose, and just, even getting closer with God, my appetite for things just started changing, and it was like, once I saw the change, I couldn't unsee it, and so it just, and it started happening I feel like it happens more at a rapid pace now because I understand what's going on. But in the beginning, it didn't happen at a rapid pace. It just started happening slowly. Like, I started slowly just recognizing the different type of conversations that was being had. And I could be just sitting there like, why are we even talking about this? You know what I'm saying? Like, we spending so much time and energy on this conversation, but this ain't doing nothing for us. Like, why are we so concerned with what somebody else is doing? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it just get to a point where you just start seeing yourself. The distance just happens naturally, and it just fades. And I actually experienced this recently where somebody from my past had randomly called me. I hadn't talked to this person in like 8 months. They had randomly called me, and, I didn't have their number in my phone. So I answered the phone, and they just started talking. And so I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like, And they starting to tell me what happened, like what they had going on. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like really? Like I'm invested in the story. You know what I'm saying? And so the conversation is getting ready to end. And so they like, okay, I'll call you later. And then we hung up the phone. And so I had paused after that and was like, I had to ask myself something really real. Do I want this connection back in my life? And I actually sat there for a minute and I thought about this because I had to be honest with myself. And I actually started reflecting on what life has been the last 8 months that I haven't connected with this person. And I was just like, I can honestly say I don't miss connecting with this person. I don't miss, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I personally feel like, you know, we've outgrown the connection. So there was nothing that made me feel like, oh my goodness, yeah, we need to bring this back around. You know what I'm saying? And so literally in that moment, I had prayed for them and shoot, I had put their number on block. And there was a time in my life where I didn't feel like I needed to block people. I just always assumed that they would get the memo. If you keep calling me and I'm not answering the phone, I hope that eventually you stop calling, right? Or for me, I remember not to answer the phone if I know who number that is, you know? And so, you know, it was a moment of, dang, do I really want this connection in my life? Because y'all already know, some of y'all ain't gonna be honest, but I'll be honest. Some of us be forcing connections. And it's because we don't want to feel alone. You know, we don't want to go through the process of pruning, you know? And so the thing about pruning, if you don't prune off the things, whether that's the job, the relationships, the associations, whatever, if you never peel that stuff off of you, you're never going to make room for the things that you actually need and that need you. You know, some of us, we're used to familiarity, right? Wait a minute, familiarity. I've been working on pronunciating my words because it's like, I'm from Memphis. So my enunciations be like, hold on, what you say? What you say? And so I've been working on, like, you know, just making sure I'm enunciating my words properly. But yeah, like familiarity, some of us, because that is what's familiar, that's what we go to regardless of how it makes us feel. And it's like, you can't keep going to what's familiar. You have to go to what's aligned. Yeah, you have to go toward the things that actually serve you. And that's the thing about life as a whole. I remember one year for on my goal list, I had actually or my prayer list, I had actually asked God for more purposeful friends and more purposeful connections in my life. And he actually started showing me that in order to actually have that, you have to make room for that. Because think about it. When you're talking about you want more purposeful relationships and more purposeful connections, that's going to require a different version of you. A version of you that's like, yo, I'm walking away from the things and the people that do not serve me, right? If that version of you exists, then the other version of you can't exist, where it's like, I'm holding on to the things that don't serve me, but they are quote unquote my things. I've known these people my whole life. I've been in this job 10, 15 plus years. It belongs to me. So I'm going to keep having it. I'm going to keep holding it. Right. And so I started recognizing that. And I'm not saying, you know, I had to just cut all of these people off. Nah, literally distance just started happening naturally to the point where it just faded. It just faded, you know? And so I even think about, I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and they was like, I don't understand why when people get successful, they don't leave home. And so they was talking about like, like some of the rappers and different people like that. And I was just like, it's because when you are dream chasing, when you thinking about, the vision that you have for the life that you want to live, you are not taking into consideration the things and the people that you have to leave behind. And so because you don't take that into consideration, you find people of when they become successful, they actually stay in their hometown and they start to get emotionally drained, financially drained, and mentally drained, and sometimes spiritually drained, because now there's this tug of war of like, now you got a lot of people hating on you because they looking at you like, oh, you think you better than us. And it's like, no, I don't think that I'm better, but I do think I'm different. You know what I'm saying? Just like you different. But it's like, even think about, y'all seen Glow Sister recently, where she felt entitled and obligated, where it's like, yeah, we struggled together. So when you come up, that means we coming up together. And it's like, don't get me wrong. I appreciate you being there during the building process, right? But just because I get on, that don't mean that we get on. Like, here's what I'm saying. Just because my plate is filled up, that don't mean that you can eat off of my actual plate. Now, I want you to have your own plate so you can fill it with the things that you want. You know what I'm saying? And you eat off your own plate, and that's what we do. Like, let's teach each other how to eat. Let's teach each other how to get it. So that way we can all sit at the table together, and you got your plate, you got your plate, you got your plate. When you thinking that we gonna keep eating off the same plate, that actually come from a scarcity mindset. You know what I'm saying? That come from a surviving mentality. And it's like, if you keep staying stuck in that survival mentality, you'll never operate in wholeness. You know what I'm saying? You'll never operate in abundance. You'll never operate from the mindset of thriving. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we all are individuals. And so my success may not be what you're successful at, right? But that don't mean that you don't have any gifts. That don't mean that you don't have any talents that you know what I'm saying, that you can't contribute. And that's really what it comes down to. A lot of people be so wrapped up in their mind where they feel like, dang, I ain't as gifted as you. I ain't as talented as you. I don't have the same resources that you got. I ain't had the same, whatever the situation is. And it's like, yo, you don't have to have the same. Play the cards that you was dealt. You know what I'm saying? But when you get stuck in this mindset of, oh, I got to scheme, or I got to, in order for me to come up, I got to make sure you drown. It's enough out here for all of us to eat. And I know the world don't make us feel like that. I know culture makes us feel like we have to compete against each other. And to be completely honest with you, there's no competition. When you look in the mirror, you see self. Yeah, when you look in the mirror, the only person that you're competing with is the old version of you. That's who you competing with. You know what I'm saying? That's the person that you got to prove wrong, because there's going to be this voice in your head. And this is why self-talk is very important. And anytime you start hearing that negative self-talk, you got to counter it with a positive self-talk. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's this voice in your head. You ain't never going to be nothing. You're not good enough. You're going to be just like your bloodline. You're going to be like this person. You're going to be like that person. And there has to be enough willpower in you, enough mindset, growth mindset within you. That's like, oh, no, I hear what you're saying, but I believe something different. And you start showing yourself, yeah, watch me run it up. When I started saying run it up, I'm talking to myself. When I start saying, hey, yo, what it do? I'm hyping myself up. One of the things that I love to do before I turn on the mic, before I turn on the camera, before I go to speaking events, before I have my meetings with my clients, I turn on some music and I dance and I perform and I give it my all because that's what brings me joy. You understand what I'm saying? That's what makes me put me in that state of mind of like, yeah, it's go time. You know, and that's what you got to do for yourself. You got to figure out, yo, before I take that next step, whatever that next step is, what can I do right now that's going to continue to help keep me, right? Because help keep me from feeling lonely, help keep me from feeling, dang, I got to fill this void with something. No, fill it with your fruit. Fill it with your fruit. First, you got to identify your fruit, and then you got to fill it with the fruit and not the things that's going to distract you. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had asked me recently, why did I stop doing TikTok live? And I was like, to be honest, it became a distraction for me. Like, especially when I was in my single season, I would get on there, I would drop my gems, and that'll be cool. I started watching that number go up. It went from like 12 people in the chat to 20 people in there. Now it's 100 people in there, whatever. And people was actually having conversations with me. And so some of them would be replying to, you know, the gems that I'm dropping. And I'm going to be honest. There was another group of people that found me attractive and would start trying to, you know what I'm saying, shoot they shot at me. And so the attention that started garnering, that became like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, they see it, And so, you know, I started feeding into it. I started entertaining conversations that I know for a fact that I would have never entertained, you know, had we been in person or, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. And so that it really became a distraction for me, and it filled a void. It filled that silence that I didn't want to sit in for real, because I had felt like I had already been sitting in it. Come on. How many of us have felt like, dang, I've been sitting in this too long. It's time for me to get up out of it. And then you just make whatever move you make, not even consulting God first. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, to those of us that feel like, yo, I'm in this season of isolation because I am elevating, just keep in mind, when you feel like, oh, I didn't have enough, make sure you consult with God first and say, hey, I'm about to go do this. Should I do that? Is it okay for me to do that? And I guarantee you, when you bring God into the conversation, and I'm not going to act like I've brought God into every conversation, because I haven't. But it's been those very situations that I look back on and I wish, I'd be like, man, I wish I would have had just said something to God just to see what he had to say about it. And so, yeah, like, I think as you ask him, hey, is this what I should be doing? Or is this okay for me to do? Wait for him to respond. You know, because you don't want, y'all, when you, I'm going to tell them this, when you are elevating, everything that look good to you ain't good for you. And there's going to be some things that can literally, you don't even see coming. I mean, you don't even see blessings coming, right? But there are some times where that other side show up and it catch you off guard, because it's like it might not look and feel how you thought it was going to feel, in order to be able to identify that this is a distraction or this is something that you don't need to be getting into. That's why you ask God, Lord, I need you to level up my discernment. You know what I'm saying? Level up my wisdom and my knowledge, because I don't want to just be entertaining any and everything that come my way, and it's going to slow down my process. It's going to prolong, you know what I'm saying, what I'm supposed to be doing. And now I'm on a whole nother path. That happens sometimes. And I know for a fact, I have experienced that within relationships. And that's how I've gotten like burnt out and just constantly being in unbalanced relationships where it's like, oh, okay, bet. Like, oh yeah, this can't be a bad thing. It don't feel bad until you look up and, you know, you 8 years in and it's like, this actually has not grown me. If anything, it has harmed me. Right. And that's a relationship. That's a job. Like that's a lot of things. And so that's why it's important. You have to keep God, you know, at the forefront as much as you can, you know, and I know, you know, as you begin to like continue to just walk through it, you're not going to always, you know, have God at the forefront, especially when you're used to operating on your own. You know what I'm saying? You used to making your own decisions and you used to being in control and you used to, you know what I'm saying? You used to having your hands on it. You used to having your hands on it, but it's just like, yo, there's going to come a time where it's just like, yo, you got to take your hands off and you got to lean into somebody else other than yourself. And I say God, because for me, I've been building by myself a long time. You know, a lot of the things that you see me have, whether it's like, you know, the things that I've produced, you know, the things that I've accomplished and I've achieved, I haven't had a team for that stuff. You know, I haven't had a manager. Like, it's literally been me and God in the trenches running it up. And I done met some dope people along the way. And then there are some other people that have faded away, you know, and so that's literally, you know, life has truly been ebb and flow. And so it's like when you find yourself in that pocket of loneliness, pause before you do anything. And I'm talking about pause before you find yourself, I'm about to text this person. Oh, I'm about to call this person. I'm about to entertain this. I'm about to entertain that. Pause. Yeah, pause yourself and ask yourself, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Why am I doing this? Why do I want this? And if you be honest with yourself, and that's one thing that I feel like we struggle with, we are not honest with ourselves enough. But if you sit, you pause and you be honest with yourself and you ask yourself, why am I getting ready to do this? And you begin to identify, well, I'm doing this because I feel lonely right now. Turn to something else that's more fulfilling. Turn to something else that's going to actually fulfill you and not drain you. Because how many times, come on, y'all, how many times have we hit somebody up thinking that they was going to fill a void and they ain't do nothing but drain us further than what we already felt? Don't leave me out here by myself. Come on. You about to call them, yo, what's going on? Like, if you want to kick it, you want to hang out. And then literally not even 10 minutes into the conversation, you are reminded why. Yeah, no, never mind. Now you carrying weight and energy that you wouldn't even had to carry had you not been trying to entertain something that was going just, you know, you trying to avoid how you really feeling. You know, and that's why, you know, I tell y'all all the time, I have intentional time, and not just in the mornings, but like just various times of the day, like very moments of the day. And I literally bring God what I'm feeling. And it's like, I have to always be raw and honest about what I'm feeling, because if I don't want to be the only person carrying it, you know? And so as I've grown my relationship with God, you know, I hear people talk about, okay, give it to God. Let God order your steps. And it's like, okay, what does that look like? Letting God order your steps looks like you going to him and asking him, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Guide my steps, Lord. Like, show me, bring me the connections and the relationships and the opportunities that I'm supposed to have. Bring me the ones that has my name on it. Yeah. Increase my discernment to be able to see and recognize and let go of the things and the people that no longer serve me. That's what it begins to look like when you start having those conversations. And that's why, and like I said, it might not be a situation where he answers immediately. It might take you a moment to actually start identifying, oh, you know what? I'm starting to see something. Y'all ever heard somebody talk about that prayer? Like, yo, be careful what you ask God, like start removing, Lord, remove anything that's not for me. And then all of a sudden, people just start disappearing. Like, nah, for real. Like I always tell people, be careful what you're asking God for, because he will begin to show you things that you might not be ready to see. And the thing about it is you can't unsee it. When you see it, you see it. Okay. And now it's going to be like, okay, so now that you see it, what you getting ready to do with it? Because the longer you try to entertain it, the more uncomfortable, and not even uncomfortable, right? The more draining it's going to be. And I wanted to switch the language around uncomfortable, because sometimes when God is taking you somewhere, it can feel uncomfortable. It's not always going to feel easy. It's not always going to feel, and pause. When I say easy, I'm talking about easy to us. There's a part in the Bible where God says, my yoke is easy. I'm talking about our idea of easy. And I'm talking about the idea of, oh, it's going to feel good. Oh, this was nothing. No. It starts to feel good and it becomes nothing once you're done tussling. And I say that because, I tell y'all this story all the time about when I was, when he was telling me, yo, you're going to be an author, you're going to be a speaker. And I'm like, oh, no, Lord, get somebody else to do it. Ain't no way. I don't even talk proper, yo. Like, come on. And fast forward now, it's like writing has been so freeing to me. Writing has been so, even speaking, like just sitting here dropping gems with y'all. Y'all know I love getting on the mic. And it wasn't always like this, but I hear people like, they'll send me messages like, oh my goodness, your voice is so natural to listen to. You're so easy to talk to, like just all of these things. And I'm like, wow, who would have ever thought? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I'm like, I don't know, man. It just, it can feel lonely, but at the same time, it's like, that you're doing it. You doing it the right way, and you doing it for the right reasons, because you don't want to become, I don't know, like you just don't want to start allowing people to mistreat you and misuse you because they have access to you. There are so many people right now that are in situations where they are their family and friends' meal ticket. And it's almost like it feels like you don't get a choice. You the one that's coming up. You the one that's, living out your dreams and your goals and pursuing purpose and things like that. And so you feel this obligation of being the first. Yeah, you feel this obligation of, hey, I'm supposed to take care of my family. I'm supposed to take care of my friends. And nobody talks about how draining that experience can be, and one of the things that I've always said, I would rather help put you in position than to keep policing you. And I say policing you because it becomes a situation where I'm not helping you grow. I'm not helping you elevate. Right. And so if I'm not helping you grow and elevate and I'm just giving it to you, how are you going to sustain it for yourself? If something happened to me today, how are you going to sustain? And that's the part of it where I tell people all the time, especially like family and friends, hey, I'm the blueprint. You can come to me and talk to me about, hey, I was thinking about this idea that I had, or whatever. I'm going to give you some gems that I have, and tell you about some of the experiences that I've had, right? But I can't fund the whole process. And that's the reality of it for me. You know what I'm saying? I can't be the only one, you know? And so it's no hard feelings or nothing. Like, it's just, I'm just one person, you know? I'll never forget, I had a cousin who wanted to be a songwriter. And so at the time I was doing music. So I'm like, shoot, okay, bet you can write one of my records for me. And, you know, I made sure that I put their name, it's like gave them credit for the song and stuff like that, because I wanted that to be a way for them to start getting their credits up. You know what I'm saying? Start actually having some real movement in that space. And so, I don't know whatever happened, you know, with that whole situation, but I can tell you that they on a whole different path now. And that's the thing about paths in life. When you are not pouring into yourself and you keep allowing the wrong people and the wrong environment to really like get in your mind and control where your boat is going, you're going to find yourself in a whole nother place. And it's just like, yo, you start to wonder, whatever happened to so-and-so? I mean, it's like, well, shoot, they doing this now, or they doing that now. And so sometimes I just pause and I experienced the same thing with my friends, some of my friends. Like, I had a partner that wanted to be a DJ become a bigger DJ. And I had told bro, like, hey, I got a homeboy, you know what I'm saying, that's a heavy hitter in the DJ world. Shoot, the next game night, he coming, you should pull up. And my friend straight up told me, like, oh, no, I ain't ready for that. And so, you know what I'm saying, I respected it. Like, I'm just trying to put people in position. Now, if you decide you don't want to do it, then hey, okay, you know. But I never, like forced that situation on him or nothing like that. But it's like, bruh never connected. Bruh never connected because he didn't feel like he was ready. And let me tell you this final gem drop. Being ready is a facade. You're not always going to be ready. Look at life. Life be lifing regardless if you ready or not for it. So you have to actually make up in your mind, who do you want to be? What life do you want to live? What things do you want to have? You know what I'm saying? And you stay true to that. You don't deviate from that. But ready is a facade. Like, and you'll start seeing, as you start doing things when you're not ready, that begins to prepare you even more, because now it's like, okay, cool. Even if I'm not ready, I'm more equipped. I'm more prepared. I'm more like, okay, boom. Yeah, I remember my first single, On and Poppin'. This is my least favorite record that I have, but I put forth the effort and I made the investment within myself. I booked studio time. I made sure that I had the best engineers. Like, I had people literally coaching me on how to be an artist, because I had never been one. I had never seen nobody do it in person. So they had to tell me, Nay, get your hands out of your pocket. Nay, before you start singing, you need to actually drink tea, warm up your vocals, do this, do that. Like, I'm thinking you just finna go in here and lay it down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that it was a full-blown process to be had. And so I appreciate those people that, even though that was my least favorite record, there were people along the journey that was helping push me forward. And so I wasn't ready 100% as an artist, but I was just like, I need to get this out of my system. I need to go ahead and do it. Because if I don't, I'll never do it, because I'll keep making the excuses on why I can't do it. I'm not ready. I'm not good enough yet. So I'm going to just keep putting it off. And so do you know that I released On and Poppin', and that was my single that charted? Like, that single hit top 50 hip hop and R&B this was like radio spans. So top 50 hip hop and R&B. Sierra was on there, Fetty Wap, K Camp, Kanye West, me, I was on there. And that was so crazy to me, because I was like, what? This charted? Bro, this not even my best song. Like, and I felt like, okay, you know what? Oh yeah, I'm about to start getting better. Like, and so that was the energy for me. Like, that was like, okay, you know what? Boom. So yeah, let's keep getting better. Let's keep getting better. And that's what I did. And so I started just falling in love with the process. And sometimes we so focused on the destination that we don't even want to look at what the process is. We just want to already be there, And so, yeah, man, I just wanted to just understand, y'all, it's room out here for all of us. One person don't got to be the only person that make it. You know what I'm saying? That make it out. Like, I understand what it feels like to be building by yourself. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've wanted to reach back, and I have reached back, and I got my hand bit off. But there, you have these moments of wanting to reach back because you want to pull people forward. And it's like, they have to do their work. You can't do their work for them. And this is why some people never move forward, because they don't do their own work. They used to handouts. They used to people doing it for them, to the point where when those people stop doing it for them, they don't know how to do it, And so just know, man, like, there's more people ahead. And I know you might not want to make, new connections and new friends and have new experiences, but I'm like, yo, that's a part of life. You know what I'm saying? Meeting new people and creating new experiences and new memories and new connections. That's all a part of life, And I know you know that, because think about the people that was once strangers to you who are now some of your best friends, and also some of these people that you can't let go. They wasn't always your people. You had to get to know them. Even if they was family, you still had to get to know them. So, yeah, man, just know that it's enough out here for everybody to eat. Don't feel like, you gotta be the one to take care of this and take care of that. Nah, and I know people are gonna try to make you feel guilty about it, and it's like, nah. I like how Drake said, you wasn't with me shooting. No. That's Rose. You wasn't with me shooting in the gym? Like, that's facts. Like, even if you was inside the gym, you wasn't making sure that I got up at 5 a.m. to show up to practice. You wasn't making sure that I'm in here actually doing my suicides and making sure my ball handling skills are straight. Like, don't think that just because you have access, that means that you are entitled to. Nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really look at even people like LeBron. He still got people from when he was coming up. These people have grown into his business partners. These people have grown into his manager. Like these people that he's known for a long time within his life, these people have taken their own talents and figured out what they good at. And now it's like, okay, boom, I'm good at this. Okay, I'm good at that. Well, shoot, I need this and I need that. Okay, boom, let's bring it together. You know what I'm saying? That's how it should be. Everybody eating off their own plate, but we sitting at the same table. And if we not sitting at the same table, I see you from my table, you hear me, and you over there at your table, and I'm like, what's up? What it do? You know what I'm saying? Listen, y'all keep running it up, man. I appreciate everybody tuning in all around the world. I really don't take it lightly, you know. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to my family that's been tuning in. Shout out to the strangers, the friends, everybody. Like, everybody that's running it up. Keep going and keep growing.
I really feel it's my time, think it's my year.